Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored, a disturbing story out of Minnesota. A man was not only disappointed after learning his sister and husband were having a baby, he says he felt she was no longer innocent in a journal found by investigators. So what did he do? He chopped her into pieces while also killing her unborn child. My next guest share more of the gruesome and horrible details. And joining us on The Factor tonight to talk about this strange case out of Lakeville, Minnesota, we have with us Greg Dupree, former police officer and now private security firm, TLAC now, and Dr. Jasmine Boone. So first of all, Greg, just craziness going on there. Brother and sister, the brother has been arrested. He is 23-year-old Jack Ball, accused of killing his sister, 30-year-old Bethany Israel. What do we know about this case so far, Greg?
Well, basically, his older sister went over his house for dinner, and the mother became concerned after she didn't hear from the daughter after 11 o'clock. She went over the house, and when she got to the home, evidently the brother was leaving covered in blood. And when she went in the house, she saw blood all over the home, and she called the police. The police responded. They found body parts and blood. And they also got a call from a neighbor who said that they saw the brother come by their house on their Ring camera and leave a body part on their front doorstep. So this guy, committed this gruesome act and just went through his neighborhood, I guess, spreading these body parts around.
Do we know what the motive is so far?
No, we don't. If the police have a motive, they're not releasing it. But one of the things that they did release was the fact that he said that he did it. Well, they found journals. He had a bunch of journals at his home. They found out that he had said in one of the journals that she was no longer pure because she was getting ready to have a baby. She was 17, 18 weeks pregnant. So, they charged him not only with her murder, but the murder of the unborn child.
And I think he's being held on $2 million bond,
right,
and with no conditions, and $1 million bond with conditions. Right. And according to investigators, they found a saw, a hatchet, and large knives all covered in blood in that house. Just mind-blowing.
It is. Can I add this, Isaiah?
Sure.
This is purely speculation, but I find it hard to believe that no one, at least in his family, had any indication that he would have exhibited any type of these traits or this type of behavior before. If I had to pick a guess, this guy had at least incestuous ideas of. I'm going to leave that to the expert. I'm going to leave it alone, so I'll pass that on.
And that's why we have Dr. J.
That's why we had Dr. J. Exactly.
You're climbing up too high of the ladder.
I know.
Let's bring in Dr. Jasmine Boone, and of course, this is no laughing matter. Serious situation. When you assess this situation, a younger brother who's 23 goes in, according to investigators, and dismembers his sister, cutting her into multiple pieces and leaving a journal behind saying she was no longer pure, no longer innocent because she was now pregnant. Now, keep in mind, this is a sister who's already married, has her husband, but getting pregnant apparently was going too far for the little brother. Your thoughts on this, Dr. Jasmine Boone? What is going on here?
Well, it's clear that there is some type of mental instability taking place, right? And, again, speculation, but I'm right with Officer Dupree. There may be a component of kind of some incestuous fixation, right? Where, as soon as he realizes she's pregnant, he kind of becomes obsessive and, upset. There could also be a component of hyper religion, right? I don't know what his religion is. Of course, he is definitely not my client. I haven't assessed him or evaluated him. But if there's some hyper religion component, maybe that pulls in this dynamic of innocence or the loss of innocence. It is all a lot. It's very heinous, but I would not be surprised if in some way he had some type of fixation of a romantic nature for his sister.
And is that odd, Dr. Boone, to have a family member who may be in love with another family member. Obviously, that is not right. It's not to be encouraged or done, but is that odd?
I would not say it's the norm. It's if it is, it's definitely not talked about. But yeah, that would not be the norm. There may be some things you admire about your sibling, or you may recognize that your sibling is an attractive individual. But to go as far as committing such a heinous crime, dismembering, that goes way too far. I definitely wouldn't say that is norm at all.
And would there be signs, Dr. Boone, that this person is preparing to cross the line in a situation like this? Would there be obsessive behavior of this person aimed at the sister or family member that others could spot or maybe they ignored?
So I asked myself the same question. I feel like a lot had to have been ignored, even beyond the sister. I feel like for him to show up on this level with this type of crime, there had to have been signs of some type of mental illness, right? That's just my thought. Now, as far as specifically as it relates to the crime and his fixation with his sister, I would say, did we start seeing signs when she started seriously dating her, now husband? When they got engaged, was he, kind of acting out? Was he kind of giving her the cold shoulder? And if that's the case, that kind of crosses over, given that I believe he's 23. It's kind of like, well, that's not normal. I could understand if you don't want to lose the companionship you have with your sister. But if he, seemed to show any signs of anger that she was moving on in a romantic way with her husband, now widower, those would be signs that I would consider.